Okay, so now let's start with the helix. So spiral, there is a difference between helix and spiral. So we will use here helix. So now go to front view and click on center and then specify your axis distance. So how much length of your ring. So let's turn on ortho and specify your length. Then after specifying length, you need to specify your finger size, means your diametric value. So let's go to diameter and specify 16.33. So this is a okay, number of turns is very important, how much number of rounds you require. And then click here for the ends opening. And opening means which side you need to specify your end openings. Okay, now this is your helix. And now let's go to let's first rotate to 45. And now go to top view and now create ends. So now let's create ends, start line and end line. And as for first and means starting and ending, how should we keep this ending directions? Okay, so you can set it according to your requirement. Now let's bring it to the top with the front view and let's bring it upside. So there is a wonderful option available here to connect two different curves, that is okay. But before that, let's make one cylinder, so using which we can pull or project our curves. So let's first convert into 3D solid model. So let's make it extrude curve and create one cylinder. Now move it to another layer. Okay, now first let's connect the curves before projecting or pulling the command. So first curve and second curve, we need to set its directions. So let's flip one and flip two as per your requirement to set the directions and also set the ends on the curve. So if this side is not matching the curve, let's flip it to another side and flip and two. Now let's bring it upside and set the tangency handle. Okay, so for the first point, you can also set your tangency handle and you can also check your curvature. So here is the curvature option, and you can also add more density to check the its curvature graph properly. So if this sets according to your requirement, now make okay. And if this curve is attached with this curve, you can also explode and delete the extra curve. Now let's connect the another end. So this end to this end with the adjustable curve blend, and let's flip the curve. Okay, now you can set your adjust tangency handle and join the curves. Okay, you can also check your curvature graph. Now let's set it according to your shape and requirement. Now let's make okay. Now also to disconnect this curve, you can also split the curve with the point. So you can now separate the curve, split the curve and delete it. Now turn on your cylinder and you if the curve is going inside of the cylinder, you can pull it. So let's first try pull. Actually we need to project, but for right now let's try to pull it if it is working. So let's select pull. I already have selected the curves. So now let's select the curve and let's click on the pull and select the surface. So if it can pull the curves on this surface, the new projected curve will be generated. Okay, you can also create the resultant curve on current layer, or you can also change your layer to move the new generated curves. But for right now, let's use 4 is not getting done, so let's use current layer, and then you can select object to select the surface. So if there is a possibility to pull the curves, it will create new curves. But see, this curve is not getting pulled, so we need to use project option. So let's select the curve, and now go to project and select the resultant surfaces on which we need to project our curves. Now move it to another layer and select the curve. Okay, and move extra layers to another layer and hide them. Okay, now let's go to second step. We need to specify cross sections on this curve to create a snake shape. So starting head options, head cross sections are little bit more in size than end option, and tail is a little bit different. So first let's select specify the C plane. C plane is the sketching plane. So let's create it on a quadrant and create one circle and specify proper cross section size. So let's make it 1.25, 1.35, 1.3 is fine. Okay, now let's one create line and trim extra portion, and after trimming extra portion, let's turn on mid. Okay, now after moving you can also trim your extra portion. Okay, so now join them, and let's create multiple copy for sweep one command. Sweep one requires multiple cross sections, and we need more cross sections to connect each other properly. Otherwise, it will not create proper sweep shape. So I will place here on the quadrant. Let's check it is placed properly on the quadrant. If it is not placing properly, okay, let's rotate this point, starting point to this ending point. Okay, now use rotate and center point, start point, and end point. If the cross sections are as okay as per your requirement, now specify for the cross section for head shape. So now create one circle. Okay, it was a 1.3, 1.25 cross section. So now let's create same circle or size of 1.25. Now create one line and same way just remove extra circle using trim and join them. You can also use this same copy using copy command, but if you do not use C plane, you need to manually set the cross section using gumball. Okay, so here you go to top view, or either you can set using the cross section curvature continuation. The top view will be very useful to set the cross section orientation. Okay, so now let's specify middle section for head, which is more broader than end options. So let's make it bigger one. So let's use 2.2 and create another line. Okay, trim and join, move, and now final cross section at the end. So we will going to use C plane, and C plane will be helpful to specify cross section and with the proper orientation according to curves tangency. Its orientation will be automatically set if we use C plane perpendicular to curve. Now let's trim extra portion and then join. Now move this curve to end portion. Okay, now let's reduce the size for the tail. You can use scale command. Okay, now set C plane to its origin position. This was the its home position. So C plane world top is the home position. Now use sweep one command and select all the cross sections. Okay, sweep one and then cross sections. In okay, this curve is not joined, so that's why it was an error. So now let's join the curve and now specify select all the shapes cross section curves. So sweep one and first select the rail, then cross section. We need to properly set this starting point. This starting point is the very important for this good result for the sweep one. If we are not setting this point properly, you will not get proper result in sweep one. Okay, though see the starting points are not visible properly, so I need to change my background color. So now let's type in underscore options command to change the background color, and let's change this color to a dark little bit gray. Now change the layer color also. Okay, now again I'm going to use sweep command and then select the cross sections. Now I can see the start point orientation means start point option. So if the start point options are not matching to each other, we need to set the start point and the direction of the start point. If the start point is starting with going inside, you need to set the direction. If it is not setting, you need to set it manually. You can also flip these directions if you accidentally click the arrow. Oops, this the see the directions. If not properly, you will got this kind of results which is not required. So what we can do for right now, I just forgot to okay set step by step alignment option. So let's set the starting position this way. You need to check the starting position from the beginning. Okay, if the result is not okay, see, I have just forgot to rebuild origin rail curve, and so that's why let's first delete all the cross section and rebuild this original curve. So don't miss to rebuild this original curve and also to set the degree. Otherwise, you will not get the result as per your required. And we also need top surface for flow along surface, so we need a proper surface. So rebuild is a very necessary steps to create the proper uh, surface, to create the proper shape for our UV curve. So that's why I just step back, and I'm just going to recreate this cross sections curve. So let's fast create the cross sections, and this time I'm just scaling little bit higher than last time. So I'm specifying more value. So now same way, create circle line and then trim the extra portion and move this portion to midpoint to endpoint. This midpoint to endpoint. Okay. Similar way, I'm going to create all the cross sections. Okay, so now let's back to our original background color. Okay, I have all set all the cross sections, so little bit higher in scale from the last time. Now select first rail and all the cross sections. Now this time we will go with the curve. So this will curve go through this way and touch to this endpoint. Now from bottom to this point, and it will go upside from this way and touch this endpoint, and now it will go from down bottom side and touch this endpoint, and now it will flow these points. Okay, now let's make done and let's check the result. You need to manually check all the alignment of the cross sections. Oh, it's there is some mistake there, so let's check it again. Okay, and until you get proper alignment of the all the endpoints, let's make it little bit zoom so that we can understand if the all the endpoints are perfectly matching. So let's make little bit more zoom. So you can see it should not be even uh, far away point one or point two. So let's little bit make more zooming and cross check the endpoint position. So the all the positions are looking fine. You need to manually verify all the points. See here, the all the points are not perfectly at the starting point. So let's set them. Okay, we need to zoom and check all the points. See here, it is also not at the end point. So manually check all the points. See here, it is also not at the end point. So this can cause the errors. So this is very detailed creation. Okay, still we are getting little bit errors. So let's recreate, reselect and use sweep one command again. Now let's do it again. Select the cross sections in sequence one by one. Okay, now it will flow through this third, fourth, fifth, six, seven, and eight cross sections. Now go to zoom and set all the positions properly. Okay, this is fine. Okay, let's set this point here, and now also all these endpoints. at okay, now let's recheck. Okay, now move these points to endpoints. Adjust all the points at the endpoints. Now let's make it done. Okay, so great. We have now got the shape as per our requirement. Okay, so this is the perfect. Now this is the step 2 completed. So after completion of step 2, now let's go with the step 3, that we need to create UV curves of our top surface. Okay, because we need to apply our texture pattern on this top surface. So let's create a UV curve for this top surface. Okay, I only require top surface, so that's why I explore the surface. And now I'm going to select this top surface and create UV curve. Okay, here actually I click 2 or 3 times, so let's delete it and select this surface again and apply create UV curve. Okay, so this is our UV curve. Now we need to create pattern on inside of this rectangle. So we also left this much distance here on the top. We don't need on the head texture. We need from neck side down to the neck. So first let's create one small rectangle with the soft corners, round corners, sorry. And now let's rotate 45-degree. Okay, now let's convert into 3D model. So let's specify extrude curve, specify height. Now this is solid. Let's make it explode and change the top portion into some curvature or rounded portion. So now let's select and join the surfaces. Now use patch command. Okay, so patch will create tangent surfaces. Not need to select single edge, but we need to select using this cross section. And this is wonderful top patch, and it's rounded, so it will shine more than flat. Okay, now select these all surfaces and close them with the join command. Now create multiple copies for our pattern. So now select this portion. See, for creating copy, we need to specify proper base point. Okay, this is not okay. Now select the bottom pattern and base point is here. Okay, now you can click here, so it will create at the same distance in bottom side. Okay, now we need multiple copies. So linear array is the good option, array linear. Okay, but we don't need a gap in between patterns. So let's create another row. So another row in between the gaps. So we need to adjust second row and set the position. We need one more copy at the top side. Okay, so let's select and create another copy from this base point to this base point. Okay, now select all the pattern and let's use array linear. So we need to specify number of items in array linear and then the distance between the number of items. So make sure you click not anywhere else portion. If we click anywhere else, the pattern should not be linear. See, it's goes on some angled and on some angle position. So now do it again, and this time we will add more number of items. So select those item and use array and click this way. We need a in linear direction, and I have turned off the O snap option and set the pattern according to your requirement. Now this is fine, but we don't need extra patterns, means we don't need extra objects. Okay. Okay, to create surface here, we are going to use sweep to option and create one base surface to use flow along surface option. So this is my base surface, and also delete extra objects, extra features which are not required and which are not inside of this UV curve. So I'm going to select and delete all those extra patterns. Okay, now we also need to trim or cut these objects which are half inside or half outside. We only need pattern inside of this rectangle which will set the flow. So we are going to extrude this rectangle, and now select all those pattern and use boolean split command which will split the extra portions. So go to boolean split. Okay, first I am trying to union these all the patterns, but it will take time and most of it is getting failed. So Boolean union is not a good option. We need to use Boolean split. So let's wait for some time. Okay, so if it's not working, let's group these all the objects and okay, let's first deselect all the curves. So for that, let's make it ungroup. Select this curve and move it to another layer. Create new layer and move the all the curves to another layer. Now select all the pattern which we have created and let's use group command and use Boolean split option and select this surface to split the pattern. So this is a very good option. And now go to front or right view. As you can easily select the cutted objects, means cut objects. Okay, this is done. So now let's go to front or right view. Ungroup ungroup them all to select. Okay, this is not good. Yeah, this is perfect view. Now select this selection window. Using this selection window, you can select the objects and move to another layer. You can also rename the layer, but for right now that's fine. Now also select this surface and move to the same layer. Okay, now we also need to cut down the bottom portion which is not required. I have just given extra height, so select them and use the same command boolean split and select that surface to split the objects. Okay, once it gets completed, go to the front or right view. Now select the bottom portion and move to the another layer. Okay, yeah, let's first ungroup them, select the bottom portion and move to the another layer. I'm just creating new and new layers because if I require, I don't want everything all at once. So this is the perfect final output, final pattern for this surface. Okay, if everything is looks okay, now save it before procedure to next step, because now it can crash accidentally, so you need to save your work. Now I'm going to select the all the pattern, and going to specify different height. For that I'm going to create cage edit, and using bounding box and global coordinate system, select the first point cloud, and scale the height. You can also reduce the height, both the side, but let's do it one by one. Front side I'm just going to use scale 1D to specify, to change the height, to reduce the height. Okay, you need to set your base point. Okay, it's coming down, then surface. So let's select this point, and let's make second click outside, and then set the reduce the height. Okay, now same way I'm going to the end point and setting the height using the 1D scale. We need end to end portion reduced height, then normal, and center position I need means height increased, then endpoints. So using the same portion, same tool, scale 1D, I'm just going to increase the center portion height. Okay, after setting all the options, everything, we need to apply this pattern on this surface, the top surface of the snake body. So after creating and cage editing, we need to apply flow along surface command. So we need to base surface, and this is my target surface. So properly selecting surface, target and base surface is very important. If you do not get your desired result, try some different angle for target surface, and you will automatically get this kind of beautiful result. See, I have applied all the ups and down texture pattern on this snake body.